Part 44. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 431. Chapter 431 Severance of Grudges. Wu Pingxian, it has nothing to do with anyone. I didn't fall in love with anyone else, and it wasn't because my parents wanted a child and forced me to divorce. I just didn't want to live with you. It was only for the first time that I saw your true face. A woman like you is selfish and cold-hearted. You only have yourself in your heart. You don't even take your parents into your heart, your parents who love you as much as their own lives. How dare I love a woman like you? How dare I like it? Now I still have value in your mind, and I can still take care of you, care for you, and love you. You are naturally very kind to me, but one day when I am old and unable to move, I need someone to take care of you. At that time, I'm afraid your true face will be revealed. I don't want to have such a miserable end. I want to live my own life. At least I don't have to worry about it. I want to have my family by my side, and at least they love each other. And you make me feel very scared. Even thinking about the fact that I have slept next to you for so many years makes me feel scared. Women like you are really scary. I don't want to spend even one day with you. What's more, you should use your brain to add insult to injury. You are the daughter of the Wu family. Who dares to do such a cruel thing to you? Who dares to punish you like this? Get you fired. Except for you people from the Wu family who have spoken out, who else has no brains and dares to do this without informing your father and brother? You have lost all your brains over the years. You are just relying on the power of the Wu family to dominate outside. If you really use your brain, you will be no match for any of the 10 of you. Wu Pingxian, wake up. You have done so many things yourself, and you still don't know who fired you. Even I know that you have done such an outrageous thing. Your elder brother made it very clear that day, telling you not to act rashly and not to have those little thoughts. But what about you? You promised well, but you turned around and ran away immediately. Do you think your eldest brother is a vegetarian? Was the Dr. Wu who was rumored in those years just such a simple character? Meng Ran opened the door and left. Wu Pingxian was left with a look of astonishment. Yes, sir. He is actually the elder brother whom he despises. She was fired and lost her job, and Meng Ran wanted to divorce her. Are you trying to force yourself to death? Wu Pingxian picked up the phone angrily. Don't even think about it. She will not be knocked down. Who is she? She is the most beloved daughter of the Wu family. Who is Wu Weiguo? He is a released prisoner who has been in prison for so many years. You can also influence other people's decisions. She doesn't believe it. She called her home phone. Wu Pingjing answered the phone and found that his mother had been discharged from the hospital and was taken home. But the mother could only lie on the bed and stare out the window blankly, unable to speak or move. Sometimes the old lady would cry alone. At that time, he saw his eldest brother hiding behind the door and crying secretly. He also cried. Father also cried. All the men in their family were crying. The second brother and the second sister-in-law both fell seriously ill and almost died because they blamed themselves for not being with their mother. This family is almost filled with gloom now. There is still a little bit of popularity in the family. Seems to be filled with sadness and pain. Even Xiao Cheng didn't dare to walk around in the garden casually. Afraid that grandma would be sad if she saw her. But the culprit escaped and fled. When Wu Pingjing picked up the phone and heard Wu Pingxuan's voice, there was no ups and downs in his heart. To be honest, he was completely disappointed in the sister. Third brother, I was fired. Ask Dad what happened. Why did you fire me? I don't want to be fired. If Dad says hello, I can go back to work. Give Dad the phone. Wu Pingxian is still as self-righteous and arrogant. You don't have to look for Dad. Dad doesn't want to see you at all. After you did something like this, you still have the nerve to call home? How thick-skinned do you have to be? I tell you clearly, you are fired. My eldest brother told me about the incident. He used his connections to find someone to inform the superiors. My second brother and I both agreed, and it was decided unanimously by the three of us. When Dad finally learned the news, he agreed. Dad said he doesn't have a daughter as heartless as you. You deserve it. Brother did the right thing, he didn't kill you, then you really have to be lucky that you and we are brothers and sisters from the same mother. Otherwise, you would have died. Wu Pingjing said the most vicious words without feeling any emotion in his heart. This is not my sister. Wu Pingxian said angrily, Wu Weiguo, why does he do this? I am his sister, Haha, why do you do this? Are you asking questions knowingly? Think about it for yourself and don't call again. You are not welcome in this family at all. You will die as far away as you want. We don't have Wu Pingxian in our family. We don't have a sister. Just a beast who made his mother paralyzed in bed. Wu Pingjing wanted to hang up. Wu Pingxian shouted hurriedly. Third brother, Meng Ran wants to divorce me. Now I am alone, without a job, and without a husband. You don't care about me. Do you want to force me to die? Aren't you worried that my mother will hate you when she finds out? Haha, Meng Ran finally has eyes. I'm glad that he can bravely escape from the sea of suffering. Also, what kind of personality does mom have? You don't know, mom will hate us. Don't be kidding, mom will be very happy if we find out. Wu Pingjing hung up the phone, feeling an indescribable feeling in his heart. Happy, yet sad. It would be so surprising for people to find out that their own sister was taken care of to this extent by their own hands. But they have no regrets. Wu Pingxian deserves to die. Wu Pingxian over there was really dumbfounded. She didn't expect that the family was serious. My heart is ups and downs. In the next few days, Wu Pingxian was very anxious. She was fired from her job, and everyone who saw her became angry. The house the two of them live in is a house allocated by the work unit. Although Meng Ran says that all the property will be given to her, the house is public property. If she does not work at the work unit, the house will naturally be taken back. If the Wu family was still in its prime, Wu Pingxian would naturally not have to move out. But now the Wu family doesn't care about Wu Pingxian at all. The house was repossessed. No matter how much Wu Pingxian cries, there is nothing she can do. I also received a call from Meng Ran urging divorce. Wu Pingxian came to persuade him and said a lot of good things, but Meng Ran's mind was made up. Wu Pingxian is not a person who is used to being humble and low-key. She got angry a few times and actually divorced in anger. Wu Pingxian decided to return to northern Beijing. I have nothing here, no job, no home, and no husband. Only when she returns to the Wu family and her parents see her misery will they truly forgive her and help her find a solution. It is easy to find a job for her in Beijing, after all, her parents are here. Several brothers are also considered characters, and they will not really care about her. Wu Pingxian had a good plan. When she left Haishi, no one knew about her past and could start over. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 432. Chapter 432. A row of king bombs. Zhang Xiaoxiao has started school. She was assigned to a new dormitory. She had never been to college, so she was just curious about everything. The freshness made her morning sickness much better. 8 girls in one dormitory, 8 beds. Because of Zhang Xiaoxiao's special care, Mrs. Song said hello that the dean of the medical university is her student, so he shouldn't be too special. But giving her a chance to choose can still be taken care of. Zhang Xiaoxiao was the first to arrive at the dormitory. She was not polite. Her belly would get bigger day by day in the future. In this era, there are many people who are still in college in their 30s and 40s. In the same classroom, an 18-year-old young man and a 40-year-old elder brother are schoolmates, which is normal. It's not uncommon for people to go to college with their children and husbands. Not to mention just a big belly. It's not unusual. Zhang Xiaoxiao chose the lower bunk in front of the window. It was inconvenient for him to climb up and down. For safety reasons, the lower bunk was safer. She put the things down and went to fetch water for cleaning. The dormitory must have been unoccupied for a long time and is very dusty. Fortunately, before she could get started, the second roommate came. Jin Xiaomei was also an educated youth admitted to university. When she saw Zhang Xiaoxiao, the two of them started to do it much faster. An hour later, the windows of the dormitory were already clear. Jin Xiaomei chose the lower bunk opposite Zhang Xiaoxiao. The two of them really got along. Jin Xiaomei is a gynecologist and is the same age as Zhang Xiaoxiao. The two men had just packed their luggage when others appeared. The remaining four seemed to come in front and back. Some people saw that the lower bunk was already occupied, so they chose their own beds. The last two people never showed up. Let's get along with each other once everyone gets to know each other. Two of them are natives of northern Beijing, Zhang Xiaoxiao and Feng Na, and the others are all outsiders. They made an appointment to familiarize themselves with the campus and have a meal together. How could they not visit the cafeteria? Several people walked out, and two people came in. Let's face each other and see each other. You are from this dormitory too, just so we are too. The one who spoke was a sweet-looking girl, but the other one was cold and hard to get along with. She looked at others with their nostrils. Several other people also said hello. You are late, come in quickly, we are going to take a walk around the campus, see the campus, and have a meal. By the way, will you come with us? Although it seemed difficult to get along with her, Feng Na still took the initiative to ask. After all, they would live together for 5 years, and they couldn't live without talking to each other for the rest of their lives. My name is Xie Beizhu, and that is my cousin and Mikey. I'm from out of town, my cousin is a local, you guys go together, then wait for us, let's go together too. It is necessary to have a good relationship with your classmates. Before Xie Beizhu came here, her parents had told her to have good relationships with others, as those would be important connections in the future. Xie Beizhu naturally smiles and greets people. And Mikey put her luggage on Jiang's small lower bunk. Looking at the things on Zhang Xiao's shop, it seems that these things are not just random country goods, and they seem to be weighing. Whose shop is this? I'm afraid of heights and I want to change it up. I can use a box of foreign chocolates as payment. Everyone couldn't help but look at Zhang Xiaoxiao. They all knew that was Zhang Xiaoxiao's bed. Sorry, it's not convenient for me, so I won't change it. Zhang Xiaoxiao refused simply and neatly. Jin Xiaomei smiled. This was the Zhang Xiaoxiao she knew. It's really Zhang Xiaoxiao's style. And Mikey stared, why is this woman so ungrateful? I'll add another set of cosmetics. I am bleeding heavily. These were all brought back from abroad by my father, and I am reluctant to use them. Zhang Xiaoxiao shook his head, I won't change. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. When Feng Na saw in Mikey's face turning red and bleeding, she hurriedly stepped in to coordinate, I'm on the lower bunk, right at the door. Otherwise, why don't you change with me? There's no need for chocolate or cosmetics. You have a fear of heights and should be taken care of one time. We are all classmates, and we should help each other and love each other. Most people have already given up on things, but Mikey is an anomaly. Of course you may feel that you are not ambiguous. The identities are different. And Mikey stamped her foot, I want this bed. Why did you give it to me in exchange? Do you want money or something else? Zhang Xiaoxiao is speechless. There are excellent things everywhere. I am afraid that his 5 years of school career have been quite busy. Don't want anything, I won't change it either. You, why are you like this? You obviously have sound limbs and good health, why can't you help your classmates who are in trouble? The bed in this dormitory is not yours. I want this bed. No change, the dormitory bed does not belong to your family, it is first come, first served. This is the principal who asked you to come late. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt that he was surprisingly tough. When I returned to my student days, my mind changed. Like a child, he starts to worry about everything. Theoretically, after a few decades of life, one should have a peaceful personality, but now he starts to become competitive. It's great to be young. Looking at Zhang Xiaoxiao, who looked calm, and Mikey stamped her feet. My dad is a professor at the school, my uncle is the vice president, and my dad is the vice president of Xi Hospital. Are you sure you want to fight me? And Mikey arrogantly threw out a row of bombs. Others were suddenly speechless. Grandma's family is so powerful, no wonder they are so arrogant and rush to grab beds when they come here. What kind of configuration is this? Feng Na was afraid that Zhang Xiaoxiao would suffer a loss. If Mikey was so powerful and had such a background, Zhang Xiaoxiao would have suffered a big loss. As long as she deliberately made things difficult for her studies in the future, Zhang Xiaoxiao would think about it in the future. Struggling in school. We are all small people, there is no need to fight with others, it is just a bed. Afraid that Zhang Xiaoxiao would not be able to get off the stage, he hurried over. Zhang Xiaoxiao, otherwise you would sleep in my lower bunk like this, I know. You must be a little unaccustomed to your body. It doesn't matter if you sleep on the upper bunk. I'll sleep on the upper bunk. She is really kind. I don't want things to go wrong in the same dormitory because of the bunk bed relationship. The difficulty in getting along is secondary. The main reason is that I am afraid that Zhang Xiaoxiao will suffer a loss. It should be said that Feng Na is a good person. He Xin sneered, Feng Na, don't be a good person there. It seems like you are the only one who knows the general situation in the whole dormitory. We are all villains. If Zhang Xiaoxiao can't carry it by himself, he quickly gives up his seat to others. There are people on the upper bunk. Anyone can sleep on anything, so why can't you sleep on it? He Xin couldn't stand Zhang Xiaoxiao, mainly because Zhang Xiaoxiao had mixed up with other people just now. But I just don't deal with He Xin. Because He Xin also wanted to sleep on the lower bunk just now, but there was no room, so she begged Jin Xiaomei to change seats with her. Jin Xiaomei had a reluctant look on her face, but she was a shameless person and was too embarrassed to refuse. I blushed and didn't know what to say. He Xin was about to pick up his luggage, but Zhang Xiaoxiao came out to stop him. Jin Xiaomei immediately rejected herself as if someone was supporting her. At that time, He Xin hated Shang Zhang Xiaoxiao, a nosy woman. Now it's natural to make a joke about Zhang Xiaoxiao. A mountain has its own height. Looking at Zhang Xiaoxiao's disgrace, she found it satisfying to relieve her anger. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 433. Chapter 433 Bullying. Opening remarks. Feng Na ignored He Xin. This woman was an educated youth with her. She was a selfish woman who was afraid of chaos in the world. How unlucky she was to be assigned to the same dormitory as He Xin. Now this is intentional. I'm willing to be my good person, and I won't bother you and meddle in your own business. Come on, Xiao Xiao, don't listen to her, just move your things to my bunk, I'll go to the upper bunk. Feng Na is really a good person. Zhang Xiaoxiao shook his head, Sister Feng, thank you, but I won't move to your bunk. I know you mentioned that it's not good for your waist, so you chose the lower bunk. Climbing back and forth on the upper bunk, climb up and down, just in case you twist your waist. That is a serious problem, and I cannot even continue my studies. Don't just try to calm things down. In this case, you are sacrificing yourself for the good of others. Everyone looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao, waiting for Zhang Xiaoxiao's move. Jin Xiaomei stepped back timidly. When he was bullied by He Xian just now, it was Zhang Xiaoxiao who helped him get justice. At this time, she seemed a little too heartless, but she didn't have the courage to stand up and confront the Enmiki in front of her. The main reason was that Enmiki's family background was too powerful, and there were so many backgrounds here, so she couldn't fight. I can't afford the consequences. I am just an educated youth from a small place who wants to go to university to change my life. Carrying the hopes of her parents and family, if she fails to learn real skills in these 5 years and ends up returning to their small place in despair, this is not her original intention. There was no way she could bear the mountain in front of her. You can only retreat. Enmiki looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao proudly. What are you looking at? Hurry up and move the luggage away. What are you still thinking about here? I tell you, our dormitory must establish a rule in the future. You will take turns cleaning my bed from now on, and I don't participate in dormitory cleaning. When she was in school, she was used to everyone in the class letting her go. She had no choice but to do so. Her family background was so good that everyone could only stay away when they saw her. Her rules are the rules of the class, and the teacher has nothing to say. When she was in elementary school, she once asked her classmates to do a lot of things for her because she didn't clean the house, and even helped her hold books and carry school bags. One of the head teachers criticized her for this. As a result, the teacher was transferred from the school a week later. From then on, every head teacher in their class was polite to her, turning a blind eye to what she did. After all, who makes the 3 generations in the family too powerful? Xie Beizu hurriedly came over to help Zhang Xiaoxiao move his luggage, because he was afraid that it would be difficult to get along in the dormitory in the future. At least give Zhang Xiaoxiao a step up. Whoever is slapped in the face like this in public will not be able to hold a grudge against them in the future. Although Enmiki is not afraid, Xie Beizu is afraid. He has been the one to take the blame every time for so many years. Others can't take revenge on Enmiki, but there are many things to deal with her in private. She doesn't want to make enemies now. Zhang Xiaoxiao blocked her movement with one hand. Xie Beizu paused. What is she doing? I don't like others touching my things. Xie Beizu stepped back and said, I just want to help you, I have no other intention. Okay, hurry up, don't wait like this, I still have a lot of things to do here. Take your luggage away quickly, Xie Beizu, and then help me make my bed and clean it up. According to my habit at home, I tidied up everything, and moved the 2 tables in front of me, which will be my dressing table from now on. Enmiki has already begun to instruct Xie Beizu to work. To be honest, Xie Beizu is his little follower. Xie Beizu glanced at Zhang Xiaoxiao in embarrassment. Don't look at me, I never said I wanted to give up this bed. Don't say that you, Enmiki, are just an ordinary person. At most, you are relying on your father. Because of your grandfather, because of your family background. No matter how powerful your family members are, you are still a student at a medical university, and you cannot cover the sky with just one hand here. It depends on personal talent and knowledge, but you cannot become a doctor based on your family background. As for me, I am a hard-boned person, and I prefer soft things over hard things. The harder others are, then I would rather hit my head with blood and try to break other people's teeth. So don't even think about this bed. Zhang Xiaoxiao's words completely ignited the atmosphere in the entire dormitory. Strange, angry, surprised and excited. Feng Na sighed. She is the oldest in this dormitory. She is already 28 this year. Among this group of young girls, her age and experience are there, so many things are not settled, but there is no need to be tough. And the Mikey in front of her does have a good family background. Once someone does something bad behind her back, it will not be so smooth for them to graduate from college in the past 5 years. I originally wanted to persuade him to just go around this matter, but who knew that the Zhang Xiaoxiao in front of me was also a tough guy. At the age of 17 or 18, he looks full of energy. It's better to be young, people have such courage and courage. Put it on yourself, you have been sharpened by life and know how to avoid its sharp edges. Everyone looked at Enmiki. Enmiki narrowed her eyes and looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao. For the first time, she realized that Zhang Xiaoxiao was really unusual. This woman had such a personality. The most important thing was that her bones were too hard. She had seen many such hard bones. Many people think that they are very proud, but eventually life will teach them that pride is useless. She likes to watch other people's pride being suppressed bit by her own family. That straight spine bends little by little, and finally grovels to oneself. That feeling is interesting. Okay, I admire your courage. Well, Xie Beizhu, go find the director of the logistics department. I still don't believe it. I can't deal with a little Zhang Xiaoxiao, right? Zhang Xiaoxiao? You are very powerful. Let me remember you deeply, let's take our time, we can take our time in 5 years. Smile evilly and arrogantly. Zhang Xiaoxiao had enough time to make his bed. Feng Na sighed. Now that she had to use her power, they had no choice. They couldn't convince Zhang Xiaoxiao, so they had to give in. Xie Beizhu glanced at Zhang Xiaoxiao, who was still silent, and was surprised. Who is this Zhang Xiaoxiao? Most people would be frightened and shy away just by hearing about Enmiki's family background. This woman actually remained calm without moving at all. Enmiki said angrily, "What are you doing here with a wooden stick? Didn't you hear me ask you to find someone? Find me the director of the logistics department. She is well known in this school, and she has a capable father and a powerful uncle." This is the opening statement of bullying. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 434. Chapter 434 Attitude Change. Xie Beizhu brought the person here in a short time. The director of the logistics department is named Bao. When Bao Tongxin heard that it was Enmiki who asked people to find him, he immediately understood that Enmiki was the daughter of Director An, the niece of Vice President Liu's family, and she was a household name. Domineering and arrogant, I grew up playing in school. He is a smart child, but he is really spoiled by his family. Be king and dominate wherever you go. This time he must be bullying again. Hey, shake your head. This life is hard to live. I have just been transferred from the academic affairs office to be the director here. Now that something like this is happening, should I prepare to hug Vice President Liu's thigh? As soon as you enter the door. The atmosphere was eerily quiet. When Enmiki saw Bao Tongxin, she didn't recognize him, but that didn't mean that he didn't recognize her. Director, I want this lower bunk. I hope you will let this classmate move out, and I will sleep on this lower bunk. Very sure tone. Pointing to Jiang's small bed. Director Bao understands that he must make a choice, otherwise he will suffer the consequences later. He made big moves as soon as he took office. Sigh, I can only wrong this classmate, and there is no benefit in confronting Enmiki. Lower your voice and say, this classmate. Zhang Xiaoxiao turned around. Bao Tongxin's words were stuck in his throat. This is Zhang Xiaoxiao, who the dean personally called and asked him to take care of. How could he not remember it? This dormitory was arranged by myself. The location and orientation are very good. Zhang Xiaoxiao was specially arranged first, just so that Zhang Xiaoxiao could have a good choice. Now this is King versus King? Mars hits the earth. Bao Tongxin has a headache. He is not a fool. When the dean called him, he made it clear that he must take good care of Zhang Xiaoxiao. The dean made a phone call in person. What kind of truth is this? It shows that Zhang Xiaoxiao's background is absolutely excellent. Who is his dean? I rarely give others a backdoor, and the first person I have a relationship with actually calls me personally. Director Bao, do you mean that I should make way for Enmiki? Zhang Xiaoxiao doesn't believe in evil, and she doesn't think she loses when competing against the backstage. If Director Bao told her today that she must give way to Enmiki, she would call immediately. She still didn't believe this evil. MRS Song plus Mr. Song, plus Mr. Feng, plus Wu Pingjing, no, is it just harder than backstage? Let's compare. Director Bao hurriedly laughed, no, no. I just understood that the beds in this dormitory are allocated. First come, first served. This principle applies to every dormitory. No one has to give up his seat to anyone else. Since you came here first, this bed is naturally yours. Don't worry, I will definitely uphold justice. Enmiki stared at Bao Tongxin with her eyes wide open. Director, what do you mean, do you not want to be in this position? Bao Tongxin coughed and said, classmate Enmiki, for the sake of Director En, I will arrange another dormitory for you. In this way, you can choose any location and choose the location you want. This was the biggest concession he had made. After all, he, a dignified director of the logistics department, actually talked down to a student. There was really nothing he could do about it. His uncle was the vice dean, and his father was also the director. No matter what, he has to give this face. Enmiki was furious, pointed at Bao Tongxin and shouted, I don't want to go to other dormitories, I want to be here, I want this bed, and I ask you to drive her away. Bao Tongxin looked surprised, wondering if Enmiki was crazy. She didn't look like this when he saw her on weekdays. Enmiki thought this medical university was run by her family. Even though his uncle is the deputy dean and his father is the director, you can't just walk around in this school. You get what you say and what you want without any cover-up. How does Angia educate its children? In the past, he had only heard from others that Enmiki was used to being lawless and domineering at home, but he never expected that Enmiki was so domineering. Most people would at least have some dignity, and at least teach this child how to get along with others outside. With her attitude, who can be friends with her outside the house? No wonder she gets into fights with others as soon as she gets to the dormitory. Moreover, you are picky, you can pick a soft persimmon, but you picked a hard rock. And it is a granite stone. This stone is placed here, and you can't do anything to strengthen it. If you try to do it, even if you tie your uncle and your father together, they still can't strengthen the stone. The person behind you is the dean. Are your uncle and your father older than the dean? I don't really want to be humiliated like this, and I am also drunk. Well, since you don't want to change to another dormitory, that's up to you, but if you want to bully others in the dormitory, that's not allowed. I am the director of the logistics department, and I can guarantee fairness and justice among the students. You can do whatever you want, but let me tell you something, your father and your uncle are not omnipotent. There is still truth in this world, and in our medical university this truth is that everyone is equal. Bao Tongxin turned around and left. He does not serve. Enmiki scolded loudly from behind. You wait for me. I will definitely ask my uncle to expel you. How dare you do this to me? Let me tell you, this medical school is run by my family, so what? I can do whatever I want. Bao Tongxin looked back at Enmiki in disbelief. The look on his face that he saw a fool made Enmiki even madder. He rushed towards Zhang Xiaoxiao like crazy. At home, when she loses her temper, She hits people and breaks things. Now she still treats this place as her own home. Others were exclaimed. No one expected that college students in this era could meet such unqualified people. This is to beat people up. Feng Na wanted to protect Zhang Xiaoxiao. There was no reason. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked very much like her sacrificed sister, and she couldn't help but want to protect this girl. And Mikey's fist fell on Feng Na's back, and Feng Na gritted her teeth in pain. Zhang Xiaoxiao looked at Feng Na, who was blocking everything for him, and kicked Mikey away. It means to kick it away in a real way. Originally Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't want to be so rough. The problem was that she was afraid of hurting her child when meeting a lunatic like Mikey. So a real kick? And Mikey fell in the corridor outside the door and hit her head against the wall. Her head was immediately bruised and bloody. Xie Beizu was frightened and hurried out to help the person up. Others looked at each other in confusion. The first day of school has not yet started, and now there is a fight in the dormitory. What is going on? Many people have a sense of crisis, so they won't be considered a big demerit. More people are secretly thinking that Zhang Xiaoxiao may not be a fuel-efficient lamp. Otherwise, why did the director's attitude change become so ambiguous? Where did Zhang Xiaoxiao come from? End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 435. Chapter 435, Taking the uncle to meet his best friend. Zhang Xiaoxiao helped Feng Na up. How are you? The groan that Feng Na made just now must have been due to injury. Feng Na held her waist and shook her head. It's okay, my waist may be a little injured. At any point, Feng Na knew that her waist was going to break. The pain is so severe that I can no longer feel it. The last time Mikey made such nonsense, she was considered to be ill. Zhang Xiaoxiao glanced at Jin Xiaomei and said, Jin Xiaomei, come and help me and help Feng Na go to the hospital. Jin Xiaomei looked troubled, as Mikey looked like just now. If she helped Zhang Xiaoxiao, would she be the next person to be retaliated against? I have a stomachache. Turn around and hide. Feng Na waved her hand. It's okay, I'll just lie down and it'll be fine. Zhang Xiaoxiao glanced at the other people in the dormitory, who turned their faces away. Everyone was guessing, but Mikey was too tough and they didn't dare to help Zhang Xiaoxiao so blatantly. Zhang Xiaoxiao felt cold. This is a group of people who want to save lives and heal the wounded. They don't even dare to stand up for basic justice. How do you expect them to save lives and heal the wounded and show boundless love? Joke. Is Zhang Xiaoxiao here? Zhang Xiaoxiao was pleasantly surprised when he heard the sound. Wu Fei, I'm here. Wu Fei is a typical bored person. I knew Zhang Xiaoxiao was starting school today, so I came to see Zhang Xiaoxiao, and also gave Zhang Xiaoxiao some advice. We have attended college for at least 1 year. She met her uncle when she was going out. Unexpectedly, her uncle insisted on following her, which made her feel uncomfortable. It's too much for the uncle to follow these young people around. He came to see his best friend, so what's the matter with the uncle following him? I have never heard of someone taking his uncle to meet his best friend, but it's useless if she doesn't agree. The uncle's eyes glanced at her up and down coldly, and she felt a chill on her back, so she could only bring him here obediently. I roughly asked about which dormitory Zhang Xiaoxiao lived in, but no one knew it. After all, it was the freshman dormitory, so she could only find out where the freshman dormitory was, and searched for it along the way. Unexpectedly, Zhang Xiaoxiao responded as soon as he shouted in the corridor. Wu Fei, here. I'm here, come and help. Wu Fei thought Zhang Xiaoxiao couldn't handle the dormitory, but as soon as she entered the door, she saw Zhang Xiaoxiao supporting a girl with a painful look on her face. What's going on? Looking at the dormitory again, other people looked confused and indifferent. They knew very well that Zhang Xiaoxiao might not be happy with the people in her dormitory. My friend was injured, and now I have to take her to the hospital, but I'm alone and you know my situation. Zhang Xiaoxiao was really overjoyed. Wu Fei frowned. Hurry up and let go. What's the matter with you here? Are you still needed? I'm here, and I'm bringing someone with me. Uncle, come in quickly, now is the time, it's time for you to help. I was secretly glad that my uncle came with me. He is a strong laborer. Wu Weiguo was stunned, something must have happened to Zhang Xiaoxiao. He saw a girl with a head in the corridor, and another girl supporting her. Looks like a fight. Isn't it that school hasn't started yet? Are all children today so fierce? He was mainly worried about his daughter. If something happened to Zhang Xiaoxiao, he would have to go to the dean's office. I have agreed to take care of you. Zhang Xiaoxiao, just wait for me. Xie Beizu takes me to the hospital quickly. I want her to live worse than death. Zhang Xiaoxiao, just wait to be expelled. Dare to hit her, and Mikey never thought that she would be beaten one day. Since childhood, no one dared to do this to me. She was really angry to death. The most important thing is that Mikey is worried about the disfigurement on her head. Zhang Xiaoxiao was so cruel that one kick left her with a head. And Mikey only wanted to make Zhang Xiaoxiao look good. Xie Beizu helped Mikey walk out. At this time, several people came over. Seeing his daughter's head, Xian felt pain in his heart and hurriedly stepped forward. What's wrong with you, kid? Why is your head broken? Just now, Bao Tongxin went directly to his office and talked about what happened in the dormitory. When he heard that his daughter was having a temper in the dormitory again, he felt a little angry. This daughter has been pampered by her family since she was a child, especially her wife and mother, who doted on her to the point of being lawless. I don't get along well with anyone outside. Over the years, I have offended many people because of this child, and the two of them have always helped wipe the child's butt. This time, I brought the child under my nose just so I could keep an eye on the child. Otherwise, he would get into trouble sooner or later if he was left outside. Beijing is such a big place, and his family is not the only one with children. Is it possible that other families with backgrounds don't have children? Once one day we really have a head-to-head confrontation, something big might happen. The result was like this on the first day. But his own child was beaten, and Anan felt very uncomfortable. As soon as Mikey saw her father, she was followed by her uncle and other leaders of the medical university. Crying so hard, she finally saw someone who could make decisions for her. Dad, that Zhang Xiaoxiao actually hit someone. Look at me. I was beaten to a head. Will my appearance be disfigured like this? This Zhang Xiaoxiao is lawless. You must make the decision for me. Uncle, you have to tell the leader that a student like this should be expelled, her nature is too bad. Angzhen was embarrassed, his dean was behind him. What my daughter said now is a bit too inappropriate. Even if they speak rationally, they can't say this. It does feel a bit bullying for the leader to hear it. Their dean, does he know that he is too tough and upright? Of course he looks smiling, like a smiling tiger, but the bottom line is clear, who dares to touch it? Beating you to death with a stick can knock you down from top to bottom. Dean, what do you think about this? Who doesn't do things with caution? Zhang Hongbo saw Wu Weiguo at a glance. Smiling past Angzhen and the others. I just saw the back of the person walking in front of me looked more like you, but I didn't expect that it was really you. I was surprised, the freshmen of the university have just started, why did you come here? And you even came to the freshman dormitory, what's going on? Thing. When you come to this medical university, shouldn't you first visit me, an old friend? It's so heartless. When you ask for help, you just make a phone call and explain the matter. But when you don't ask for help, you don't even plan to see me in person. If I hadn't happened to be here myself, the two of us would have missed it. When I look at you, it doesn't look like you are planning to see me. Hold Wu Weiguo's hand tightly. The corner of Wu Weiguo's mouth raised. I am just a boiler burner now. How can I compare with you, Dean Zhangde, so I dare not come to see you for fear of losing face. Shit. Did you deliberately eliminate me? If we talk about seniority, you are my senior brother, so I don't know about your skills. Don't look at you as a boiler burner now. If you show your skills, they can't even invite me. Come on, come with me to the dean's office. Let's have lunch here today. We need to have a good drink. We haven't seen each other for so many years. If you don't have a good chat with me, I won't be done with you. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 436. Chapter 436 Fighting for Dad. Okay, since I'm here today, we must have a drink at noon, but not now, I can't go with you. Someone is injured inside, I will take her to the hospital with my niece first. Wu Weiguo smiled and pointed inside. Zhang Hongbo was stunned. There was an injured person outside, and there was another injured person inside. This is still a female dormitory. When did the management system of their medical university become so chaotic, and the security is too bad? Uncle, hurry up. If you don't help, I can't move her by myself. Her waist is twisted. If she dislocates it a little, it will be more troublesome. You still let Xiao Xiao do it? It's not like she doesn't know Xiaoxio's body, now is the time for her to take action. Wu Fei shouted. Wu Weiguo hurried in, Xiao Xiao, don't get involved. You can't let anything happen at this time. Come on, I'll help you. Zhang Hongbo hurriedly followed, what's going on? The small dormitory is now crowded with so many people, and so many college leaders are seen here. These new students stood aside cautiously, no one dared to speak. It was her, she hit me. And Mikey dares. She has a grievance and has nowhere to say it. Seeing that her father didn't make the decision for herself, she decided to do it herself. And Xian almost fainted because his daughter didn't have eyesight. The dean ignored him just now because he felt that his daughter was arrogant and was deliberately trying to keep her cold. At this time, you should hide your strength and bide your time. If you continue to rush forward, you are unwilling to die slowly. May I have your name? Zhang Hongbo took a look at Zhang Xiaoxiao and saw that the girl was quite quiet and very beautiful. She was fair, and there was no arrogance between her eyebrows. If it was said that this girl injured an Mikey in front of him, he felt like he didn't believe it. My name is Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang has nothing to say to others about any trivial matter. Are you Zhang Xiaoxiao? Zhang Hongbo was shocked, this name was so thunderous. You must know that he has received several calls in the past 2 days, all to take care of Zhang Xiaoxiao. The first one was Wu Weiguo, his good senior brother back then, and his best classmate and friend. The second call turned out to be Mr. Meng. The selfless Mr. Meng was asking him to do whatever he wanted, and he was his teacher. What can be done? The third call was from Mr. Feng. This dean was trying to coerce and induce Zhang Xiaoxiao, as if their medical university was a place that eats people without spitting out their bones. The fourth call was from Mr. Wang. Mr. Wang was, in a word, his descendant. Wang Lao, who has never asked for help in his life, appears to be the one who protects him. He was a little soft when he answered the phone. He always wondered what kind of this Zhang Xiaoxiao was. He actually alerted so many big bosses and escorted him all the way. He was afraid that he would be wronged here. especially Mr. Feng, who is one of his own students. It's your student, you can't help it like this. This protective calf also protects too much. But there was no other way. Since so many people had said it, he had no choice but to take a different path. He originally wanted to find a time to meet Zhang Xiaoxiao one day and see who he was. But I didn't expect to see him on the first day today, and this Zhang Xiaoxiao was actually the person who caused the trouble. She said you hit her. Zhang Hongbo didn't believe it. It doesn't look like it. Zhang Xiaoxiao nodded, I did it. And Mikey said proudly, I'm not lying. She kicked me into the corridor and hit my head on the wall, which is where I am now. Tell me how tough this woman must be. Is she still a human being? And I am her classmate, how could she treat me like this? Wu Weiguo glanced at Mikey and said, good fight. The atmosphere was stagnant. Well played. Even Zhang Hongbo himself was angry. What was he, a good senior brother, doing? Want to cause public outrage? Even if you are a member of your family, you cannot protect them like this. Your relatives can beat others and still say they did a good job. How to protect yourself? Even if he was biased, in front of so many people, he felt that he couldn't speak. Anyway, he couldn't say that the fight was good. So thick-skinned. It's just a good fight. I just asked Feng Na what's going on. It turns out that Mikey arrived last. After she arrived, others had already made the beds. She grabbed them when she came. She didn't talk about the little bed, and she talked nonsense about who her father was, who her uncle was, who their family was, and why they were so good together. So when she comes, she should let others give way to her. She also said that her rules are rules. This is the first time I have seen such an arrogant person. I also come from a proud family. It is really the first time I have seen such a lack of quality and level. Xiao Xiao refused to let her go, so she immediately called the logistics director. The logistics director didn't help her. So she went crazy and beat Xiao Xiao when she came up. Feng Na was protecting Zhang Xiaoxiao, so she beat Feng Na into this condition. Feng Na had a herniated lumbar intervertebral disc. After being beaten like this, look at what people are like now. Zhang Xiaoxiao kicked her out in anger. Isn't it a good fight? If you put it here, I have to say it was a good fight. Such an arrogant thing, who else will I hit if I don't hit her? Besides, she was the one who made the first move, so she should be beaten both emotionally and rationally. I'm too late. If I were here, if you dared to touch our little finger, I would throw you out. How could I just break your head? Wu Fei's words shocked others even more. This person is not a good person either. And Mikey was furious, who are you? How dare you say that? How dare you lay a finger on me? I just dare to touch you, what can you do to me? Didn't you tell me who your father is, who your uncle is, who is so and so in your family? Then I will tell you who I am. My grandfather is the reputation of this school. Professor Wu's Hai, my uncle, the all-powerful Dr. Wu Weiguo, a genius doctor in the surgical field, my father, and my third uncle are all the attending chief professors of Hoyan Hospital. What else do you want to ask? Which one can't compare to your father or your uncle? Otherwise, ask your uncle and your father to stand up and let's compete. Isn't it just fighting, Dad? Who can't afford it? And this Zhang Xiaoxiao in front of you is really someone you can't afford to mess with. Your father and uncle are nothing compared to others. Her grandfather is the famous Mr. Song, and her grandmother is Mrs. Song. Mr. Feng could not wait to beg her to be his student. She is the savior of our family. My third uncle and 3 aunts are eager to raise her up. Which one do you think you can afford to offend? Zhang Xiaoxiao was speechless. This could be considered a father-fighting meeting. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 437. Chapter 437, Recording a Major Demerit. And Mikey blinked. What? Zhang Xiaoxiao is actually from the Song family, but her surname is not Song. Angzhen immediately understood that his daughter was in big trouble. Okay, let's send him to the hospital first. Our medical university affiliated hospital is nearby. Send him there. Director Bao, you will follow and be responsible for all the aftermath. Laoan, you will also follow. Your daughter beat him like this. You should deal with it both emotionally and rationally. There is also an Mikey, right? It's very bad of you to bully others and have a bad nature. I don't even know what to say about you. For a college student to be so naughty, our medical university is in disgrace. Record major demerits, write an inspection, do an inspection in front of all students, and deeply reflect on your own mistakes. Dean Zhang made the final decision. Forgetting the big mistake, even if an Mikey wanted to work in a hospital in the future, she would still be criticized. No good thing can happen to an Mikey. Furthermore, an Mikey is completely useless. An XI inside, not only she, but also himself would be disliked by the dean, and he might never be able to take a step forward again. This is life. I understand. Dean, I will definitely handle it properly. Students, please give me a hand and give me some help. With the school leaders coming forward, several other people hurriedly came over to help Feng Na out and sent her directly to the hospital. Wu Fei wiped her sweat and said, Xiao Xiao. Give me a glass of water. By the way, treat me and my uncle to dinner. You owe me this. I came all the way to support you, otherwise you will be bullied. Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled, with a smile on her lips. This Wu Fei loved to tell the truth. I don't dare. Didn't you see that the uncle and the dean have an agreement not to return until they get drunk? I'd better change the date. She has a very discerning eye. Zhang Hongbo smiled and said, Girl, you come too. I just want to meet you. Come together, Wu Fei, call me Uncle Zhang. I haven't seen you for a long time. Are your parents still so busy? Wu Fei pouted, Hey, my parents are always the same every year. Uncle Zhang, this is my good friend. You look timid and helpless. You must take more care of her. Otherwise she will be very easily bullied. I'm not worried. Hook Zhang Xiaoxiao and ask for favors from Zhang Hongbo. Everyone in the room was quiet, especially the leaders of the medical university, who were all trying to figure out who the little girl in front of them was. This is called weakness and cowardice. Okay, it doesn't matter what you say. With your Uncle Zhang protecting you, no one dares to bully her. You all heard it, right? This girl is very tough in the background, even though my father Pin is not. But Pin in the background is too tough. I can't even afford to offend you, girl. You can walk sideways from now on. Zhang Xiaoxiao smiled and said, Dean Zhang, those crabs walking sideways are crabs, and I don't want them. I will be a good person, learn my knowledge honestly, and be a person who saves lives and heals the wounded. The other things have nothing to do with me. This is the truth. She really didn't mean to be so high profile that it would make people afraid. It's not an Mikey's fault. Otherwise, I would still be a good student. Ha ha, you girl is so good at talking. It's good. It's good to be low-key. It's good to be low-key. Let's go and have dinner together. We are all acquaintances, so you don't have to be afraid. Zhang Hongbo took Wu Weiguo and left. Wu Fei also pulled Zhang Xiaoxiao to follow her and whispered to Zhang Xiaoxiao in a low voice, Uncle Zhang has a lot of good tea in his office. You are in luck. Zhang Xiaoxiao glanced at his belly and wondered, wouldn't drinking tea be bad for the fetus? She became a mother for the first time and seemed to know little about these things. I have to ask Fan Qiuying in the future. Her mother gave birth to 4 children and raised 4 children, so she knows better than a doctor like her. 4 people came to the office. As soon as they left, the dormitory exploded. Who is Zhang Xiaoxiao? If I had known, I would have helped Zhang Xiaoxiao, and there would be no need to be so embarrassed now. Zhang Xiaoxiao must have thought that we did it on purpose, and it will be difficult for us to meet each other in the future. You are the smart one. Why didn't you say it just now? Feng Na is smarter. Look, she took sides from the beginning. This is a big favor. You can watch it from now on. Zhang Xiaoxiao will definitely protect Feng Na. And you, Jin Xiaomei, you had a very good relationship with Zhang Xiaoxiao at the beginning, but you didn't even stand up to speak to Zhang Xiaoxiao just now. Hey, it takes time to see people's hearts. He Xian laughed at Jin Xiaomei. Jin Xiaomei felt ashamed, she could have. But what's the use of regretting? Why didn't I expect Zhang Xiaoxiao to be so tough? He must have some background. Put it on her, where does she get the courage and hard steel? Jin Xiaomei is regretful and distressed. She is most afraid that Zhang Xiaoxiao will hate her. He Xian looked at Jin Xiaomei's regretful look and felt proud. Anyway, she was like this and there was no way she could become friends with Zhang Xiaoxiao, so there was nothing to worry about. And Mikey was sent to the hospital and came to the ward. Her head was broken after being hit. The doctor was worried about a concussion and asked her to be hospitalized for observation. After Angzhen settled Feng Na, a series of inspections were carried out. Just now we arrived at Mikey's ward. His daughter, no matter how bad she is, he still has to take a look at her. At least he doesn't want anything to happen to her. And Mikey cried immediately when she saw her father. Dad, look at what I'm like now. My mother went out to get me water. The doctor said the concussion can be major or minor, and the wound on my head. Although it can be recovered, it will definitely be I'll leave some behind. I want to sue Zhang Xiaoxiao. She has made me disfigured. I can't let her have an easy time. And Mikey felt aggrieved. She had never been so aggrieved in her life. Lu Ji came in with a hot water bottle and felt uncomfortable when she saw her daughter crying. The couple only had this daughter when they were 35 years old. Of course, she is like a jewel. After so many years of being pampered at home, this is the first time this has happened to me. Lauan, my daughter is right. We can't let that female student be so arrogant and hit someone, and still stay in school. Is your dean out of his mind? How can you protect an outsider? And you also let us. Mikey will remember her big mistake. What will happen to her future after this? You'd better think of a way to find my brother quickly and see if the dean has any requirements. Otherwise, you can give some gifts to the dean. You can't let the child carry this big mistake in the future. Lu Ji thought it was an ordinary fight and trouble. Her daughter did not tell her in detail what happened, but just vaguely told her. Even Zhang Xiaoxiao's identity was not made clear, so in her heart, she just thought that she was a child from an ordinary family, but with a more violent personality, so she couldn't stand her daughter's arrogance, so she got into fights. I think this matter is nothing. At most, it just happens that the dean is present, so the dean will do justice. But after all, they are our own people. My brother and my husband are both people who are used by the dean. If they can't even say this, it can only prove that the dean has opinions about them. Still follow the same operations as in the past. This is not the first time. Lu Ji doesn't think it's anything. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 438. Chapter 438. 2 slaps. Snapped. Half of Mikey's face immediately swelled up after being slapped. What makes her especially unbelievable is that her father has never hit her in her life. Today is the second time he has hit her. Her father, what are you doing? The child has a concussion, and you are still beating her like this. Are you not afraid that her concussion will be serious? If there is really something wrong with her brain, you will have no place to cry in the future. Is there something you can't say well? Why are you still learning to hit people now? Luji hurriedly checked her daughter's cheek. Feeling distressed, I quickly went to get a towel to give my daughter a cold compress. Angzan closed the door. You are still worried about her concussion. You should be worried about whether I can sit down as the director in the future. You should be worried about whether your brother's deputy dean can still stay safely. And Xin was furious. He and Lu Ming were angry about what happened this time. Both of them realized that things were not good. Who is Dean Zhang? The new dean has just been in office for a year, with a vigorous and resolute style, a drastic reform plan, and the support of the leaders above. Dean Zhang is very energetic, and all the funds for various funding projects in the school are obtained by Dean Zhang himself. It is said that Dean Zhang's classmates and friends are all senior figures. They are either the dean or the health bureau, as well as major doctors. It is said that this number alone is huge. He and Lu Ming were afraid of being kicked out by the dean, so they worked hard to show off in front of the dean. But now it was better, everything was ruined by their daughter at once. What did you say? Isn't it just a matter of beating someone? If it's so serious, how come you and my brother are involved? Lu Ji now realized that what happened to his daughter this time was probably not just a beating. Otherwise, how could so many things be involved? I hope it was just a simple beating, but do you know who your daughter hit? And Xin was so angry that he didn't want to speak. And Mikey is really good at finding people and provoking a powerful one. It's her first day in the dormitory, so can't she just stay in the dormitory peacefully? If you insist on occupying someone else's bed, you can take it. You can choose a weak persimmon. You've also had a fight with someone, but this time it's better. Who did you fight with? They are more confident than you, and their background is stronger than yours. They didn't notice what the dean said, but they were just protecting Zhang Xiaoxiao. What's going on with Mikey? Didn't you tell me clearly about Zhang Xiaoxiao? Who is Zhang Xiaoxiao? Lu Ji was also anxious. Her husband and brother's positions are the ones she relies on. In the workplace, others are doing it for the sake of her husband and brother, so they tolerate her in everything. Now if something happens to my brother and husband, what else will I have? My father and father-in-law will retire in the past 2 years. The energy of the older generation has long been exhausted. If they don't have new energy to take over, their family will be completely ruined. Originally, everything went smoothly for my husband and brother. As long as my brother stays for a while, he can be transferred to another school to be the principal. It is very likely that his husband will take over his position. How could he have imagined that such a big thing would happen here? And Mikey pouted, feeling that her parents were so Philistine and didn't care about her at all. What does that Zhang Xiaoxiao have? He just said hello to Mr. Song, Mr. Meng, Mr. Feng, etc. Dean Zhang is just confused. Zhang Xiaoxiao himself is nothing. She was not convinced. Zhang Xiaoxiao is nothing. Lu Ji almost fainted when she heard this. Which Mr. Song, which Mr. Meng, and which Mr. Feng are you talking about? How doesn't Mikey know? He shook his head blankly. Mom, how do I know? These words were not said by Dean Zhang. I didn't know what he said about Mr. Song, Mr. Meng, Mr. Feng, and Mr. Wan calling him. Remember clearly, it's pretty good to be able to remember these. Who are these people? Are they very powerful? Why did Dean Zhang give me a big demerit just because these people always protected Zhang Xiaoxiao? She feels that her parents are very powerful, and she has never met anyone who is more powerful than her. What do you know? Apart from using your family's power to show off outside, what else do you know? Listen to what she said about these people. Don't you know who these people are? What are deans, said Mr. Wang, that is the dean's teacher. Mr. Feng and Mr. Meng are both leading figures in the medical field. How can you not know about Mr. Song, Mr. Song? There were rumors a while ago that Mr. Song was poisoned. Coupled with the stroke, no one in Kyoto knew about it. I didn't see that because a document was issued on this matter, and the Public Security Department set up a special task force to solve this case. You talk about how powerful your daughter is. She offended one person and offended everyone in this circle. If Dean Zhang doesn't care about Zhang Xiaoxiao, could it be that he cares about your daughter? What is your daughter's background? With my old face and your brother's old face, which one do you think we can invite? Should we invite Mr. Song, Mr. Feng, or Mr. Meng? I'm afraid they don't even know who we are. Lu Ji sat down on the chair. These big guys that my husband talks about are people they would never see before. Even though Lu Ji usually thinks that her husband and brother are the family's support, how arrogant they are outside, showing off their status, and thinks they are very powerful, but if they are really compared with these big guys, they are far behind. Now my daughter has caused such a big mess due to a fight. There are actually so many people standing behind the other party. Whoever comes out will probably be famous. Which one of them can they offend? This immediately offended everyone in this circle. Just thinking about it, if Zhang Xiaoxiao talks a few words in front of these big guys, as long as they show a little bit of talk, I'm afraid the people below will be able to deal with them. I have been in the song and dance troupe all my life. Is it possible that the end of the road has come, and I have to endure such a storm? And Mikey retorted nonchalantly, Zhang Xiaoxiao, those old people, you can tell they are very old just by hearing their name. I'm afraid they are about the same seniority as Grandpa and Grandpa, and they can retire in a few years. What energy is there? Mom and Dad, don't look like you're crying. My uncle will be able to become the principal in the future. At worst, I can just transfer to my uncle's school. I'm not staying in medical school, it's not nice at all. People are not friendly at all. This is the first day I arrived at the dormitory. I haven't told you yet. Xie Beizu actually didn't help me, and looked aggrieved, as if he had been offended by me. This time Lu Ji went up and slapped her daughter. Only then did Mikey realize that something might really have happened. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Lucky Bag is Reborn with Space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 439. Chapter 439. Aware of the crisis. And Mikey returned to school and was not even hospitalized. She simply bandaged the wound and was carried out of the hospital by her mother. After being slapped twice by her parents, she suddenly woke up. With how much her parents doted on her, they would not be so angry that they would attack her like this. The only reason for attacking her was that her parents might not be able to protect her, so this time the matter should be very serious. Otherwise, my parents would not have done it to such an extent, and you can tell by looking at their faces that you have caused a big trouble for your parents. So she was obedient and allowed her mother to pull her out of the hospital. Lu Ji took her to buy a lot of gift fruits, and then the mother and daughter returned to the dormitory. Along the way, Lu Ji carefully analyzed the matter with her daughter. And also told her daughter the identities and backgrounds of the big bosses one by one. And Mikey knew this. In fact, many people have retired, but they are still the leaders in this academic world. Now that I have offended these people all over, it is obvious that Zhang Xiaoxiao is a very important person in the eyes of these people. She somewhat hated herself for being arrogant and domineering in daily life, and she didn't think about the fact that there is heaven outside the world, and there are people outside the world. It's not like she hasn't encountered someone before. There are many people with higher status than her in their circle. At that time, I didn't have to look at other people's faces in this circle, So why did I forget about it when I got to school? The main reason is that there are too many ordinary people in the school. How can ordinary students have so many identities and backgrounds? She thought that her dormitory was just an ordinary dormitory. Who would have ever thought of bullying someone and then causing such a big disaster? And Mikey really regrets it. As long as I have any brains, when Zhang Xiaoxiao rejects me so forcefully, I should have thought that this woman is definitely not simple. Over the years, her brain has been fed to dogs. She has been flattered and flattered by the foxy friends around her, and she has completely forgotten herself in the praise. She also didn't think about how it was possible that her family was the only one in the world. There were so many people outside her family, and they were much more powerful than her father and her uncle. Could it be that those people were all dead, and those people had no descendants? Ah! She just hasn't met anyone who has the same knowledge as her. As a result, if she meets one now, it's enough to destroy their whole family. And Mikey followed her mother into the dormitory obediently. Zhang Xiaoxiao had already returned. At noon, I had a delicious meal with Dean Zhang and Uncle Wu. Mainly because she was suffering from morning sickness, and all the food seemed to have a strange smell, so she reluctantly ate some light food, then said goodbye and returned to the dormitory. Uncle Wu also specifically asked Wu Fei to send him back. Zhang Xiaoxiao could feel that Wu Weiguo actually had all the love for her in his heart. Even though he doesn't speak, you can feel from his words and deeds that Comrade Wu Weiguo really loves her as his own daughter. I poured boiled water for her during the meal, probably because I was worried about her reaction during pregnancy and the safety of the child. When ordering, I ordered some light and delicious side dishes for her and placed them in front of her. Put those meat dishes with strong flavor on the other side, far away from her. In fact, Wu Weiguo is a very gentlemanly person. When she sits next to her, she will help her wash the cup with boiling water and pour the vinegar on her. If she even sees her taking 2 extra bites of a certain dish, she will help her put that dish in front of her. Zhang Xiaoxiao thought that if this was his biological father, he would at least be an acceptable person. Of course, compared with his father Zhang Lishi, Wu Weiguo still has to stand aside. The deep relationship with her parents made her know that what her parents had done for her was beyond what Wu Weiguo could do for her. There is a completely difference between raising a child and giving her a good living condition and then letting her go. The most that Wu Weiguo can give himself is a difference in status and money. But what her parents can give her is wholehearted love. If it really compares, she would rather her biological father be Zhang Lishi. Although she is not rich or wealthy, her parents' feelings for her are the most precious in the world. The tragic experience in her previous life has taught her that power and wealth cannot represent many things. Nor can it replace the feeling you need. My love for you, is the hardest thing to get in this world. And she already had it. No matter whether she is their biological child or not, her parents' love for her has never changed. This is something that her biological parents could never give her. It cannot be bought with money either. Zhang Xiaoxiao is looking through his notebook. There are many books on it that he has recorded some cases based on his memory in his previous life, and of course some basic knowledge. She wanted to review herself. Now as a new college student, she would be exposed to things she had never been exposed to before and start a new journey. In her previous life, Zhang Xiaoxiao was very powerful, smart, hard-working, and diligent, and would eventually achieve outstanding results. In her previous life, she was a successful person and a successful doctor. But it does not mean that she can do whatever she wants in this life, or that she can stagnate in her studies and become complacent. Zhang Xiaoxiao has never felt that he has anything to be proud of. Smart, I am very smart, but it is also true that I have not learned many things in my previous life. She wants to bring her advanced knowledge to the world in advance, so that the medical level of her country can advance more than 10 years in advance. This progress can save many people's lives. This progress can make their country more prosperous. This is the only thing she can do. But before doing this, Zhang Xiaoxiao hopes more that she can make up for her regrets in her previous life and learn from more stuff. Incorporate your own knowledge of future generations to create new innovations. Of course, the hospital must continue to carry out the work. Xiaokeng's condition is not unexpected, and he will be able to fully recover in 3 months and live like a normal person. She planned to leave the facade she chose to her parents to take care of. After all, someone had to watch over the decoration and so on. The machines and equipment that you will purchase later, including medicines and other things, must be placed there one by one. Of course, someone must stay behind. At present, the most suitable candidates are my parents. My parents have retired and have nothing to do anyway. Mom and Dad were busy working together in their shop, which was something to do. Besides, Zhang Xiaoxiao has no one he can trust who can help him do this. My brother and uncle all have to work, and my sister also has her own family and career to be busy with. We can't sacrifice everyone for her alone. Everyone has their own life, and Zhang Xiaoxiao never wants to affect other people's lives because of his appearance. End of this chapter. The lucky bag is reborn with space. Author, Floating World. Chapter 440. Chapter 440 Walking Sideways. Lu Ji saw her daughter babble in the direction of a young girl, who was leaning on the bed and looking at the notebook in her hand. The people in the dormitory are nice, there are only a few here and there. Lu Ji pulled the reluctant and Mikey to Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao had a shadow blocking his sight, so he raised his head and took a look. And Mikey, why do you still want to fight? The grievance and helplessness on Mikey's face made Zhang Xiaoxiao be more vigilant. He was not an ordinary person, and he still had a child in his belly. Lu Ji quickly said with a smile, "Are you Zhang Xiaoxiao's classmate?" "I am Lu Ji, and Mikey's mother. I heard that this child actually did such a thing, so I brought her here to apologize to you. Mei Qi, come on." Lu Ji pulls Mikey's hand. And Mikey walked up to Zhang Xiaoxiao. The rest of the people were watching the scene silently. This is a confrontation of status and background. Obviously Zhang Xiaoxiao won quietly, and they were the witnesses. And Mikey glanced at the others and bit her lip. After today, she lost all face. The others silently withdrew their gaze and pretended to do their own thing without looking away. I don't know how many ears were raised. "Zhang Xiaoxiao, I'm sorry I was wrong today. I shouldn't have fought for a bed with you, and I shouldn't have made a move. Please forgive me. We will still be classmates in the future. I hope you can give me more advice in the next 5 years." And Mikey's attitude is really sincere. At first, she was a little reluctant to save face, but now that she said it, she immediately became smooth. "I think it's not me who should be forgiven. You robbed my bed, and I asked you to remember it as a major demerit. You tried to hit me, but I kicked you out and got hurt. We are even, but Feng Na is the innocent victim. If you really change your mind, you should go to Feng Na. I will not hate you, nor will I be friends with you. We are not the same person." Zhang Xiaoxiao speaks very straightforwardly. She is really a straight girl. She has no choice but to worry that some people won't understand. After today, she doesn't know how many people will spread rumors about her. At that time, many people, even if they were directed at Dean Zhang, would try their best to flatter her. She really didn't want to take the trouble. Besides, she could also see that Mikey and she were really not the same people. As for Mikey's arrogance and domineering attitude, it cannot be changed by simply changing her attitude. And Mikey and Wu Fei are really different in their arrogance and domineering ways. Wu Fei can be saved, Wu Fei's willfulness will not hurt others. But Mikey wanted to trample people under her feet. And Mikey's face changed color, and she begged in a low voice. She couldn't get angry at this attitude, but she realized that she was wrong. Isn't this the case before? If someone gets up to apologize, will she forgive? How can she be finished if she doesn't trample her to the point where she can't lift her head? Arrogance has really taken a turn for the worse, and we are here today. Lu Ji was embarrassed when she saw Zhang Xiaoxiao's attitude. Xiao Xiao, Mikey didn't do it on purpose. We also went to see Feng Na. Feng Na is much better. The doctor said she will be fine in 3 to 5 days. She uses the best medicine and the best treatment. We sincerely apologize. There is nothing serious between you and Mikey. Xiao Xiao, please don't take it to heart. In fact, they didn't go to see Feng Na at all. The person involved was Zhang Xiao Xiao, and apologizing to Feng Na wouldn't solve the fundamental problem. Now I realize they made a mistake. Zhang Xiao Xiao glanced sideways at Lu Ji, and Mikey did have a good mother. Generally arrogant and domineering people have good mothers. She is really a loving mother with many failed children. Auntie, I said, we are even. I will definitely not take the things away. You can take them back. And Mikey has done something wrong, and her parents have to come forward. Don't let me look down on you. You are not a 3-year-old child. I need my parents to accompany me when I do anything. That would be very embarrassing. Zhang Xiaoxiao didn't look at Lu Ji, but these words made Mikey furious. Mom, let's go. It's even with Zhang Xiaoxiao. I believe Zhang Xiaoxiao is not such a loser. I will go to school well. You rest assured. I don't want to look at her mother whispering against Zhang Xiaoxiao. Lu Ji had no choice but to take her things and leave. Even if she wanted to put them down, she had nowhere to put them. Zhang Xiaoxiao was so determined that she could only take them away, thinking of going back to see Feng Na. Since Zhang Xiaoxiao values Feng Na very much, why not be nice to Feng Na? Feng Na can help them put in a good word. This road is blocked, find another one. As soon as Lu Ji left, and Mikey looked in the dormitory and saw that there was an empty upper bunk, which was also the only bunk. Xie Beizu is not here now. And Mikey put her luggage on it for the first time and started to pack her bed. She accidentally fell off the bed. If she hadn't grabbed the handle of the bed in time, she would have fallen down. No one comforted her, and no one paid attention to her. And Mikey climbed up again with tears in her eyes. By the time Xie Beizu and the others returned to the dormitory, and Mikey had packed everything and hid under the quilt. 3 days later, Feng Na was discharged from the hospital, not to mention that Feng Na's lumbar disc herniation was really cured. It can also be considered a blessing in disguise. Actually, Feng Na's lumbar disc herniation is not serious, but it looks serious after being injured, but in fact there is nothing wrong with it. After rest and treatment, I feel better than before. Zhang Xiaoxiao came out of the canteen and saw Song Moding smiling at her with a lunchbox and a net bag filled with fresh fruits in one hand. Zhang Xiaoxiao jumped for joy. Fortunately, he took everyone's attention into consideration and did not pounce on him. Even when he walked over, the two of them kept distance. Song Moding looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao. How are you? I just found out today that you have become a news reporter. Now everyone in the school knows Zhang Xiaoxiao's name. It is said that some people say that you are the illegitimate daughter of Dean Zhang. He was relieved to see that his wife was fine. When he heard about it this morning, he was frightened. Mainly because he was afraid that lunatic and Mikey would really hurt Zhang Xiaoxiao. Zhang Xiaoxiao, these are extraordinary times. Zhang Xiaoxiao touched his belly and said, I'm fine. I will protect the baby and me. Don't worry. From now on, I can walk sideways. This is what Dean Zhang said. He is probably hiding away when he sees me. Happily, she laughed. It's true that from yesterday to today, her classmates in the dormitory were very attentive and enthusiastic to her. Even strangers she met on the road could call her by her name. Say hello to her. The students in the classroom were curious, polite, and distant, but they also wanted to get close to her. I don't know who I take her to be. Song Moding's eyes were filled with light and he handed her the mesh bag. Here. Your favorite fruit. I searched all over and couldn't find any very sour fruit. I only found these apples, pears, and this banana. When I have a break, I will go to the Kuomao store and I should be able to buy some special fruits, guaranteed to buy what you like. Zhang Xiaoxiao took an apple and took a bite. Song Moding had no choice but to take the net bag and said, "Thanks to me for cleaning it, you can eat it without asking. You are not afraid of being unhygienic." "Dr. Zhang, what are your hygiene habits? I've noticed it a long time ago there are still water drops on the apples." End of this chapter.